Welcome to our first online author event. I'm Avisa from Uncle Bobbie's Coffee and Books, and I am excited to be hosting New York Times bestselling author Michael Arceneaux for the launch of his new essay collection entitled I Don't Want to Die Poor, which was released on Tuesday. Uncle Bobbie's is really thrilled to have everyone here. Right now, we are physically closed, but as long as our community is still here, so shall we be. Hashtag we still here. For us to still be able to engage with this wonderfully vibrant and diverse community that supports us so well, it really means everything to us now more than ever. So I'd like to express our utmost gratitude to everyone who helped make this possible on behalf of the entire Uncle Bobbie's team. If you haven't already, please order the book, I Don't Want to Die Poor, from our online bookstore at unclebobbies.indielight.org. This way you can support the store as well as the author. Another way you can support Uncle Bobbie's is by making a donation to our GoFundMe at www.gofundme.com/we still here, so that we can keep this thing going and come back really strong whenever this storm is over. Now, allow me to introduce our speakers. Our moderator is fellow New York Times bestselling author of I'm Telling the Truth, But I'm Lying, as well as an Uncle Bobbie's featured author alumna. Please welcome Bassey Ikpi.
Hello. Hi, Visa. How are you?
Hey, thanks for being here, Bassey.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
And now, beloved viewers, I'd like to welcome our featured guest. He's the author of New York Times 2018 bestseller, I Can't Date Jesus. Here today to tell us about his newest release, I Don't Want to Die Poor, Michael Arceneaux.
Hi, Michael.
How you doing?
Good.
No,
How
I
are
was
you?
muted. We good now. We to freedom.
To freedom.
I'm as good as one can be in a pandemic, although I don't remember what a sleep pattern is like. How are you?
Yeah. Same. Very much the same. But I'm happy to be talking to you. I feel like I've seen your face more these last couple of days than I have the whole time I've known you.
Yeah.
So it'd be All right, so let's get started. Your book, I Don't Want to Die Poor. I remember when you first told me about the title, I think that your first book hadn't even been out for a week before you started talking about book two. How soon after book one did you start book two?
The essay that came out in the New York Times Sunday Review, that was the basis of this book, came out in February 2018, so I had already been thinking about it. I've already had like a very specific idea of my life and how it should go. I mean, it almost took me like 10 years to get a book deal the first time, so I had already been thinking about other stuff, so I wasn't gonna wait. Yeah. I'm not getting any younger, and neither is this pandemic.
Right. But one of the things that I love about you is that you've always had this fixed purpose, but you do it in a way that feels so organic. I was thinking earlier about, I'm gonna read the full title of your first book. I Can't Date Jesus, Love, Sex, Family, Race, and Other Reasons I Put My Faith in Beyonce. Perfect title. Then book two, I Don't Want to Die Poor. Perfect title. Did you think about this book first? Because some of the elements in the first book were also in this one, as far as things you've talked about finances, your student loans is like a constant thing since I've known you.
I mean, they only kind of mirror in the regard that, you know, my loans impact every facet of my life. So if you talk to me at any given moment, like you just mentioned, it comes up because it's just a part of my life. So it was mentioned in the first book because it's a part of my life, but I didn't write about it in the way where I talk about just to the extent to which it defines my life. So I think that's just kind of the separation. I knew I wanted to write about student loan debt in some capacity. I didn't necessarily know how forthright I would be in the second book. Yeah, I didn't know exactly certain things that I would touch, but I kind of had a general sense about, like, for me, I think which are really flawed narratives about debt in this country, inequality, in the same way I think like Black working class queer people are missing in the conversation. I just think Black working class perspectives generally are missing, and that's what I was trying to offer with the book. So it's always, to me, just trying to like fill the space with a point of view that I don't think is normally like present.
Absolutely. I think that one of the things that we've been speaking about is this idea of economic anxiety. And it's always been afforded to white working class in the middle, excuse me, no corona.
You gotta even judge. You gotta even assume anything, and that's why we all gotta be compassionate to each other in this moment. Keep going. I'm
right?
sorry.
I was like, I can't. Okay, anyway. Yeah. So this idea of economic anxiety, and usually it's about white people not being able to white people.
Yeah.
With being unchecked. But when I read this book, the thing that connected to me the most, you know, I'm an emotional person, was the idea that there is a very distinct and literal economic anxiety that comes with being in debt, and how it prevents you from living a full life without having to always think about how you're going to pay that debt off. Was that intentional?
Yes, because you are so much more emotionally intelligent than I am, and much better about articulating emotions. It was the same spirit, but when you just literally just said the two words, it's the emotional debt. It was kind of just the best way to describe it, and I honestly hadn't described it that way in forever, which is so funny because I remember when I was noting and talking with like my agent and stuff. Yeah, I think the thing about economic anxiety is that I think it's actually really valid, and one, I mean, I don't want to go into that necessarily, but I would say there is real criticism to be had about the Obama-Biden administration and certain things that were done then and before then that kind of created the life I live now. Like, for example, the fact that, you know, as I mentioned in the initial essay that started this, you know, because of the 2003 bankruptcy bill, I, along with other people, couldn't die. Like, I literally could, if I died right now, my mom would still have to pay the balance because of that bill, you can't discharge private student loan debt. And the original essay title for that in New York Times was, "I won't kill myself." This is a digital headline. My mom would still have to pay the loans. And that's a real economic anxiety. And yeah, I'm glad that was just an excuse for white people to be white people. I really want to talk about the fact that, you know, clearly it's it's from my perspective, but I think no matter who you are, more times than not, you are a victim of inequality. It just depends on how much of a victim. But I really want to really tell our, like, at least feel like it's my, like, people like our story about how hard it is just to really get social mobility. And I think you know this too, just as in media and entertainment, very few of us can actually afford the sacrifices to really thrive. And we're already starting from behind just being Black. So I really want to speak to all of that, but it doesn't have, you don't have to be a creative to get it. I think if you live in this country, some of it ideally should resonate, because I mean, shit is kind of bad.
Yeah, I mean, it all resonated. I went in thinking that I was going to do a lot of laughing, and I think by the middle of the first essay, I found myself very emotional and moved by the undercurrent of what you were speaking about, which was the ways that you wanted to leave the place that you were, and knowing that you couldn't do that, like the physical place you were in Houston and Texas, and not being able to do that without having to take on all this debt. And once you took on the debt to leave where you were, you're now trapped in another way because you have to pay off that debt. And it really, I found myself just feeling so much for you as the person that I know now, but definitely the 18-year-old you. Is there anything that you would have done differently?
I think what I mentioned, like the essay and the book, is still true. I don't really regret my choice, but I don't regret going to Howard or wanting to go away and making a strategic risk. Because the reality is, if I hadn't, I probably would not have achieved much of what I have so far anyway. Or it would have taken longer, it would have been different. And it just, you know, I think I just wish someone had convinced me a year before that I could have done it. I would have rustled up the rest of the scholarship money. I just wish I wouldn't have went through the private loan route. I literally would have rather just dealt with government loans. I didn't know anything about it, neither did my mom. It wasn't really explained well. I mean, it's designed that way. But yeah, if I didn't go to Howard, I think my life would be even worse off. You know, like, I don't think I'd be in this moment, in this space. So I wish I hadn't had to go through it in that way. Same way, like some of my other friends who are only now finally starting to feel stable at 35, and then you look around and now where's that? But no, I'm done. But no, I mean, I just wish I had it in private. But I guess what other choice did I really have, or even still do? And they've been so many ways to get out, to be honest. Maybe I would have on TikTok sooner, but they didn't have that thing.
They didn't have Friendster. was it MySpace when back then? Was it MySpace?
Yeah, they had
Oh.
MySpace. You know, we didn't have like the YouTube. Like YouTube, I mean, I guess, you know, YouTube started popping later, but you know, when I was a teenager, that was the only way that we really knew how to get away. And by then I wasn't hooping, so in the studio.
Are you hooping now?
No, that's over. That ended in like 1996, probably.
I want to go back to something you said before about how if you had died, your mother would be responsible for your debt. Is that where the title came from?
No, I just know the titles. I just really don't want that poor. But no, I just think that's just a reality. I think that's just the cruelty of the legislation, the cruelty of the system, the selfishness of like the country and like the greed at large. I think that is just more about that. Like, but literally, I could die right now and she would still be on the hook. And it is insane to me that you can die and like your parent would be responsible for your debt for a loan. Clearly, I'm not going to benefit from any more debt.
An educational loan at that.
Right. So, you know, that just speaks to the cruelty of this. And honestly, I like to get you in off the bat with a title. So I thought if there was any few words that could best describe the book, I mean, I don't want that poor. Yeah. And
you're great at titles. And I'm going to say that over and over again. You have some of the best titles for essays, for books, for everything. I don't know what that special talent that is, but you're good at it.
And I always get cussed out for the headlines I didn't come up with.
So yeah, what do you want people to walk away with after reading this book?
I mean, I try not to be too heavy with the prescriptions to a book. I mean, usually my goal always is to make people laugh and make people think. I think with this book, though, in particular, I mentioned this like an essay for this week about kind of like what it's like to, you know, promote a book during a pandemic. But I think when people tell me the book is so timely now, it's intended to be a compliment, but the book was already timely before that, which is why this current situation is so much worse. So I will say, you know, I hope beyond laughing and thinking, for people who don't really understand the depths to which millennials in particular, or Generation X, but particularly like millennials, like this is the second great financial crisis of my adulthood, and I'm 35. And that's just kind of insane. On top of 9/11, the wars, Donald Trump being president, probably adding 50 years to my life cycle. I've already, like, some of the excerpts are already floating, and you know, really nice old white men are emailing me this morning, still talking about, why didn't you, you know, think about the consequences of your loan? Did no one talk to you and your mother? And it's just like, that is such a trite response, and has nothing to do with. Read this book if you don't know what it's like to not grow up with money and access things you work so hard for. I hope people like who really don't understand what it's like to be not just different in this country, but to be different in the fact that you can't elect to have choice. Like, I can't say Jesus in a lot of ways is about the freedom of figuring out who you are on your own terms. It's lovely and a novel idea, and I still believe in the beauty of that. But the reality is, in this country and the way most societies function, freedom, true freedom, we could do and move as you please, comes with a cost. And a lot of us really just wanted to go out with the best intentions. Now, I really want to shift the way millennials are covered, particularly when it comes to student loans and this idea that we're ruining life because we eat avocado toast and all sort of nonsense, and just kind of see what it's like to see how much the American dream and the pursuit of social mobility is like a facade. I'll stop now, but I really just, you know, a lot of the ideas expressed in the book, I want us to take a more realistic look around and say, everybody, particularly on Instagram, is so rich and so this and that, yet the median income is like this much, and nobody $400, like, you know, half, whatever. But yeah, I'll stop now.
Well, no, it's your thing. You can talk as much as you want. But I really love the way that, in a humorous way, of course, but in also, again, in the emotional way, you underscore this idea that you can't buy happiness, but you kind of can, in that, and we talk about this a lot behind the scenes, you be having the best day, you know, all the things are happening, but a bill or not being able to do something that you thought you could do because you didn't get paid on time can wreck your entire day, can wreck your entire week, can wreck your entire month. All these good things are happening, but it doesn't really fit or doesn't make any sense, or you can't really feel it because all these other things are going on as well, as far as financially. So what do you say to those people who email you and say things like that? Do you talk to them? Do you respond to them?
Well, I mean, usually I ignore them. Sometimes I feel like I'll respond in kind. I just I try not to engage people that don't know any better. But I think realistically, you have to like talk to folks and to your like the point. I'm not inherently materialistic. I don't think money alone can buy you happiness, but yes, it can in a lot of ways. And
it helps. It doesn't hurt.
There's only so much a positive outlook and dedication and all of these other things can do to alleviate the fact that your bottom line just isn't enough. And a lot of people, recommend therapy to me. Like, I have nothing against therapy. I, tend to report to failure, but I actually would like to go back. But when certain problems, like therapy wouldn't fix any of that. Therapy is like, that's another bill actually. I don't need the bill. I need money.
Yeah.
Money would make me feel better right now. The problems that you're thinking I'm worried about, money, like if I wanted to talk about my student loan debt trauma, yeah, it'd be nice to have an ear, but unless they kick it in on the bill is the bill. And
Yeah,
that's for a lot of people. So what I hope the book will at least offer is that, there's nothing wrong with acknowledging something sucks. I just think what you shouldn't do, and you hopefully won't repeat my mistakes, is I say like have a moment, just don't settle in it. That timetable differs for every person. Mm-hmm. I believe people should express their feelings, but I think when you sink in them or you internalize them to the point where you like harm yourself, literally or figuratively, then that's when you need to learn how to devise the skills to kind of like pull back and give your own sense of peace and calm in the midst of struggle. But yeah, I don't have a problem with admitting some stuff is awful if it's really awful. And I hate when people kind of like try to punish folks who want to like sometimes complain because, again, you don't want to settle in it, but this is not an inherently fair society. We don't live in a meritocracy. So I'd rather not pretend along with everybody else. And, sometimes I feel away. And I don't think we really talk enough about money. And I think it's important just to, again, get it out.
Yeah. One of the things I appreciate about our friendship is that you're about a year ahead of me when it comes to publishing and some of the things that are falling behind. And you've been really, really honest with me about the financial side. I think that a lot of creative shy away from being honest about it, and nobody really knows what to expect, how much to charge, or just how much they're worth when it comes to that. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that we're not as forthcoming with people that can be helpful for all of us?
I can't speak to anybody's respective stinginess, but I think Samantha Irby has been really great to me. And I always want to only be an asset to other people, particularly people I work with and whose other work I believe in, rather than kind of being coy for no reason. Because if I talk about if we're really, really friends, then there's no sense in not being honest. Because if we're not honest with each other, then they'll group us both eventually. And honestly, if only one person benefits, that doesn't really do us any well in the long, the grand scheme of things. So that's the mindset I have, and that's what I try to practice. I don't know why other people behave the way they do, but it's not the way that I move, and I hope I never mirror that activity. It's a political answer, I think.
Yeah,
so.
Well, I'm just very. I think I just wanted to say out loud how grateful I am for you and how of an asset you've been to me, but I think to people. This book, I feel, I know that I believe that you're going to pay off your student loan debt. As your friend, I'm wondering how that student loan trauma, like you mentioned before, do you think that that's something that you'll ever be able to reconcile with or pay off in any way?
Mostly it's done is done. I mean, I wrote the book. That's kind of my way of making as much peace with it as possible. I'm in a different space now. I mean, it's just there. The chain is there. I'm actively working to pay it off now more than ever in the midst of, again, the sky falling. But I've made peace with the fact that like I did my very best, the best way I knew how to at the time. And that's all really any of us can do is our best. Like even now, I've told you, I feel really weird about promoting a proud of. Then I'm as a pandemic when people are hurting, but it's also my livelihood. So, you know, we do what we have to do until we don't. So, yeah, I didn't love the trauma aspect of it. I will say I hopefully will never harm, like internal. I'm going to learn to finally be easier on myself. Like I am learning to be easy on myself the way other people have been telling me probably way too long, but I'm listening now.
Good. I mean, it's one thing that comes, a good thing that comes out of this whole situation. But while you were speaking, I was wondering, because I asked you already what you wanted people to walk away with this book, but what did you walk away with after writing this book? Did it change you in any way? Did it change how you perceived yourself or what you went through?
Honestly, when I turned it in, I just wanted it to be over. That's not really respectful of the book. 2019 was just a really difficult year. And there was a lot going on. And the fragility of my situation was exposed in a way that I didn't, well, it's complicated, but just personally and professionally, last year was difficult. So writing it was a bit of a challenge. By the end of it, I was just happy it was done. I think months after, once I was really removed from it and went back and like looked in, I really felt more, I mean, I knew it wasn't bad, but I was really a lot more proud of it. And I think I'm very proud of my first book, but I think this one is better. It's the kind of growth in the writer that I would want, like reflected, and it makes me more excited to do like more. But yeah, it was a challenge, so there wasn't like bright spot. It was just an awful 2019, and I was happy it was over with.
Yeah, but I want to jump on that in that I think that you're an amazing writer. I think that you are a funny person, but I also know that you are a thoughtful person. I know that you're an empathetic person, and that's what I got out of this book. I got that part of you that I knew, or that I know, which is the kindness, the empathetic, the sensitive, the person who thinks of so many people when he makes his decisions. I saw how much you loved your mother, how much you loved your family, but then also how much you loved yourself enough to leave all of that. So as a fan of yours, and I think I put this in the blurb, as a fan of yours, I saw that growth. And I hate saying, oh, I saw your growth, because it implies that, you know, you weren't that good before. But I definitely saw it. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm so proud of what you've done in this book. Because like I said, I went in thinking I was going to laugh and learn. That's what I thought was going to happen. And I was shocked at how often I teared up, and how emotional it made me, and how much I know when people read my book, they say they want to talk to old Bassey and make sure she's okay. And I wanted to talk to old Michael and make sure that he was okay. And I was like, I'm a little older, I'd give him a couple $100 and make sure he's okay. Make sure he eats today. Have you had like that kind of that reaction with people who've read the book already? People wanting to take care of you and wanting to like.
Yeah, so I think, well, you know this, but even the rollout, getting the book to people, sometimes it's just been an interesting time. But I'm really, the few people who got it early, some of them did say that I actually think I'm starting to now get more of a wave of responses now that it's really out there. Because even some of the that we sent to people, kind of the warehouse stuff, like the corona has been hurting since before this. So I don't think everybody got it as soon as I would have liked, but I think the people who have started to read it, they are like that. So it's been really nice. So thank you for that. Because I will say one critic focused a lot on the anger in the book, but I should be angry because inequality is angry. But you know what? It's a testament to how some people and their lens in which they view us, but I don't pay attention to that lens because I care about folk that really will get it. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Well, let's talk about the people who will get it. Have you heard from people you went to school with, or people who have had similar issues, or not issues, that sounds terrible, but people who have similar experiences and basically people you went to school with, or your family, how they reacted to it?
Well, people from my family and friends back home are hitting me up for different reasons this week, but I don't know. My mom already knows about my debt. My sister, we already know about it. They just want me to go ahead and make it and pay it off. But we don't really talk as much about the book stuff with my mom, you know. Thank you again.
So Michael, it was great. It's always great talking to you. Is there anything that you want people to know moving forward as we end this?
Buy the book. Please buy the book.
Buy the book.
Buy the book at indie bookstores. Support Black bookstores. All retailers could use the help, but indie Black bookstores really could use your help. So buy I Don't Want to Die Poor. Thank you for having both of us. It means a lot. And I just want to say, lastly, the book is darker than I Can't Date Jesus in some ways, but it's also just as funny. I think it's just honest. But again, it ends with hope, if nothing else. It's not, it doesn't pretend that there's not struggle, but it does end with hope. And that is one thing I always want to leave with people. And I think now more than ever, do we need hope? Because Lord knows, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm surprised I'm still alive right now, messing around with that crazy man. Thank you for having me again. It was really lovely to talk to you, Bassey.
It's always great to talk to you. And thank you for this book. You definitely left people with hope. The fact that you're here, I think that so many people are able to understand, resonate, and feel seen and heard in ways that I don't think they expected. Again, my emotional ass, I felt so much for you, but I did laugh and I did learn. There was so much about student loans that I didn't know about. So having the opportunity to hear that from someone like you, I think it's going to help a lot of people in ways that I don't think that you understand. But thank you for being here. I'm sorry that your book tour was cut short by this, but I'm also really glad that I got to talk to you in this way. So please buy I Don't Want to Die Poor. And congratulations on your TV deal. Oh my God, I forgot to talk about that.
It's fine. We're talking about that right now anyway. Thank you. Buy the book.
You're welcome. Buy the book.
Thank you.
I love speaking with you, Michael, always. For everybody out there, please go out and buy I Don't Want to Die Poor. It's an amazing book. It is funny, but it's also emotional and wonderful. And you see the kindness and empathy that Michael has for himself and others in this book. So please buy I Don't Want to Die Poor.
All right. Well, thank you both. Thank you so much once again to Michael Arceneaux. Thank you to Bassey Ikpi. Also, thank you to Joanna Pinsker at Atria Publishing Group, and to everyone who had a hand in making this possible. Thank you to the audience for tuning in when you do. I'm really happy we got to do this.
Thank you.
One last reminder, you can pick up or you can order the book at our online bookstore. Please hit up our GoFundMe. You can check out our dope merch and get a gift card at our Shopify. And please stay tuned for more because we still here. Please take care of yourselves and your neighbors. Remember to support your locals and have a good one. Thanks.